Hey, everybody. There is a really interesting and somewhat controversial subject in the world of WordPress products that we actually have talked about before, but it's a really good subject to talk about today. And people tend to have really strong opinions and feelings about this subject. If you haven't already guessed it, it's all about lifetime deals today. This is WP Product Talk, a place where every week we bring you insights, product marketing, business management and growth, customer experience, product development, and more. It's your go-to podcast for WordPress product owners by WordPress product owners. And now, enjoy the show. Welcome. I'm Matt Cromwell from Stellar WP.
And I'm Katie Keith from Bantu.
And today we have a special guest, somebody who recently launched a brand new product with lifetime deals, Lesley Sim. Lesley, welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, please tell us all a little about yourself.
I'm Lesley. I'm from Singapore. It is midnight for me, but I'm still really excited to be here. So I hope my energy levels can keep up with the time. And we recently launched a new event calendar plugin called EventKoi, which is what I'm here to talk about today.
Awesome. Honestly, first thing I'd love to hear is a little bit of why did you decide to launch your new product with a lifetime deal? What brought it to your mind? What made you think, yeah, this is a good idea?
So we actually, and this is why it's a good idea to launch constantly, but we actually launched before that without a lifetime deal, and that didn't go so well. And we were trying to figure out what we should do next. And then I realized, a lifetime deal would work perfectly in our particular situation. And then we went for it. And to my surprise, a lot of people thought that that was our first launch. And I haven't really corrected them. And so we've kind of gone from there. So going back to my earlier point, this is why, never be afraid to just, the first launch was a failure, launch again. Second launch was a failure, launch again. And at some point, you'll have enough stuff happening for you and you've gained enough experience so that when you do finally launch, your third or your fourth time, people will be like, oh, wow, we finally heard of this for the first time. And, it's really cool. That's kind of how launches go. So, don't ever feel ashamed or embarrassed if a launch doesn't go well.
Nice.
As for why we decided to do the lifetime deal, when we did our first launch, maybe I was handicapping myself a little bit, but I found myself giving a lot of disclaimers and caveats with our first launch. I was telling people things like, you should buy if you need these particular features, but then if you need, this other feature, for example, tickets, which we were planning to build or are planning to build next year, don't buy now, buy next year, which is, really shooting myself in the foot. But that's genuinely how I felt. And I didn't want people to buy now, be upset that we didn't have the feature that they were looking for and, write us off completely. And so because I was adding all of these caveats, the first launch didn't go so well. And I was really struggling to think of how we could, start earning some revenue for all the work that we've put in, but at the same time, not shortchange our customers. And in that, with that particular problem, I think the lifetime deal worked really well because we're offering, a really good deal up front in exchange for trust from our customers. And what they're getting is in the future for perpetuity, all of our features. So, they trust that we're going to build the features that they want and they pay us up front.
Well, tell us a little bit of detail about exactly the lifetime deal that you offered. What are the benefits? What's the options? Things like that.
So I should know this off the top of our head because, we just did it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I think we did 3 licenses 10 and then 25, I think, something like that.
Okay.
And then 25% off all of everything we build in the future as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that was what we offered.
I remember that actually because I was surprised that you didn't offer an unlimited licenses, lifetime unlimited option. You did license limitations, but unlimited lifetime. I mean, lifetime options. I thought that was cool. And you also added like Slack access or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, so all of our customers get access to me and Ahmed in a Slack channel as well, which is much easier to talk to us in an informal way rather than having to go through email.
So a
Yeah,
little
so you're
bit of
making them like
go
feel
ahead. Sorry.
special for you're making this like a club that they're part of, and I really like that they're buying into it early, and therefore they might hopefully be more forgiving that it hasn't got all the features and things like that. So I'm curious to know, you said 25% off things you release in the future. Event Koi is Event Koi, so surely it would only be kind of closely related to the core product. How would you justify future products that aren't included in what they bought?
Yeah, so actually that part caused a bit of confusion, and I'm not sure if it resulted in lost sales, possibly. But I had written originally in the copy something like 25% off of all future updates, add-ons, and products that we build. And people got confused by the updates because they thought that they're going to get Event Koi as it is today, and then they're going to still have to pay for future updates, which understandably upset them. So I got a couple of emails asking for clarification on that, and then I clarified, and they were like, "Oh, that's way better. This is a way better deal than we originally thought it was." And then I eventually had to remove the word updates because I just meant it in a generic kind of way. But I, now thinking back, obviously what people read it as is plugin updates. But to answer your question, Katie, I think it's hard to say what we will or won't build just because Event Koi is so new. But we definitely want to have an Event Koi Pro, which will have most of the features. But there might be room for add-ons in the future or parallel plugins. It's really hard to say, but I just wanted to, whatever we build, you're going to get 25% off of those things, no questions asked.
Yeah. So are you planning on essentially an add-on model eventually?
I think so. I think I don't want to have, and again, this is really hard to say, but I want to avoid having, dozens of add-ons just because they will be really hard to maintain. But I'm hoping to have something like 3 to 4 big add-ons. So for example, tickets will probably be its own separate add-on. I'm not sure what else, but I'm sure there will be other stuff in the future that we'll build.
Yeah. Interesting. I like it. And I think the big question next is how did it go?
I think it went, and I've talked to you, Matt, about this
I loved your
privately as well.
takeaway, by the way. I hope you.
So I think it went well, and then as soon as I saw that it was going well during the sale period, I immediately moved the mental goalposts on myself and started having all sorts of regrets about I could have done this, I could have done that, and we could have gotten more sales. But I think based on what we were trying to do, I think it went really well. So we were trying to the deal that we offered was a founding partner lifetime deal, and the idea behind it was that we would get people who are excited about Event Koi and believed in its potential and its future and wanted to invest in that. And that's why we called it the founding partner deal. And so we priced it based on people who were serious about us and wanted to actually use us. And I think that was reflected in the copy, in the deal, in the pricing, and I think all of that was very cohesive. But then once I took all of that to market, it turns out that having never run a lifetime deal before, I had kind of alienated a whole hidden from me market or audience of people who just like to buy lifetime deals and like they're not even particularly interested in using the product. They just like the idea and rush of getting a good deal. And I think our pricing was too high for those people.
Yeah.
So again, it's silly because like the entire campaign was very cohesively built for people who were serious about us. But then once I realized like, oh, there's this whole other market that I've accidentally kind of left out. And like, maybe if we had lowered our pricing, we could have scooped some of those people up.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but like have like a grass is greener kind of a feel and wish that I had done something for those guys as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it feels like in some way you could have optimized for the founders, or you could have optimized for the end user customers, and you ended up optimizing for founders. Have they generated a ton of support tickets since then? I would hope not, right? Like that's the other side, is if you did optimize for sales and you got a whole bunch of folks who are trying to use Eventcoin today, then you would have maybe had more revenue, but then a whole lot more support tickets since then. So maybe it's like pros and cons of each side. So
That's
Yeah,
if they use the product. There's a lot of these
exactly.
people, they collect lifetime deals and they never even install it. To me, it's really weird. I also don't get the mentality, and this will alienate a lot of our audience, of collecting domain names that you're never going to use. I mean, loads
I
of
feel
WordPress.
personally attacked.
I just don't get it. I know so many
I'm
people.
guilty as well.
Like, you're never going to do it. The business is about so much more than a domain name. So if you don't even have a business, anyway, that's not the topic. But similar mentality is collecting lifetime deals, and you've no idea if you'll ever want this product, but you buy it just in case.
Yeah.
And they probably won't generate support tickets ever. They won't give you useful feedback on your new product. They won't be active in the Slack community. So it is just getting one-off money from people. So yeah, I guess what's your priority? Getting real customers who will pay more and engage, or these collectors that give you some money now, but you'll never get anything in the future?
I love that. I actually have a friend back in San Diego who went to our meetup all the time. And anytime any of us ever wanted to get a license to any plugin, we just asked him, because he had bought everything out there. Lifetime license. They did a lifetime license like 5 years ago. I got one. Here it is. Like, there are definitely those people, and I know them.
Yeah, exactly. Like so that was a big eye opener for me, because I put my deal in a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of lifetime deal Facebook groups, including, like Katie, I spoke to you and you recommended some, and a bunch of other WordPress friends who had run lifetime deals recommended some other groups to me as well, which they said had worked well for them. In general, I would say that the feedback that I got from those groups was, your lifetime deal is ridiculously priced and you suck, which is fine. And again, it was like a huge eye opener for me, because I wasn't aware of this whole collector audience.
Yeah.
And the thing that really kind of made me realize that I had looked at those Facebook groups all wrong was, I was, getting some of those comments in one of the groups, and then one of the moderators. So a lot of the groups, which I think is awesome, are really, really careful about who they allow to post and what kind of, and they want to vet the content, vet the person as well, which I think is really cool. So it took me like, I want to say, a week to get into a lot of these Facebook groups, just getting in touch with the moderators, telling them who I am, what I'm about, can I post this? And it takes a little bit of back and forth. So I think that was really cool. And one of the moderators actually sent me a voice message, and it was, I can't remember the exact details, but it was basically like, the reality of a lot of these groups is that they're going to collect the deal, and they're never going to use the product, and that's why they're upset that it's so expensive, because they're solely looking for a good deal. And
You kept
for
them.
someone to say that so explicitly, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I see.
You prevented them from allowing you to be collected, and so that's amazing. It's a really interesting take overall, because they're going into those Facebook groups, it's like it's definitely the tactic if you're going to be optimizing for revenue instead. And I mean, but at the end of the day, that's you'd made your choice. You chose instead to find folks who are going to be loyal and give you good qualified feedback, and you won. Like that's the campaign that you shipped, and that's the people that you attracted. So but there's always that grass is greener or buyer's remorse type of feel of like, oh shoot, I should have done a different one. But it seems like you got exactly the outcome that you expected and wanted.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
like
awesome.
This is the game I played, and this is the medal that I signed up for.
Yeah.
And so I think that I put together a good campaign based on what I was trying to do. And I also want to talk quickly about what converted best for me, and
Oh,
that
nice.
is
Yeah.
my email list. So I think I got my email list from two main places. The first is so before EventKoi, I founded Newsletter Glue, which we ran for, I want to say 5 years, so half a decade, and we had a good size email list from there. And then when we sold that, I sneakily added, we're also working on EventKoi, and if you want to sign up for updates there, you can do that over here. And so I think we got about maybe 100 or 200 emails from there. And then from Twitter, we got another 100. And so all in, we had about 300 emails. And I think that converted the best out of everything. I also got on a bunch of WordPress newsletters. And I'm not sure maybe getting on those newsletters helped to, because sometimes people need multiple points of contact and, awareness before they remember to buy or decide to buy. So that might have helped. But one thing interesting is that I gave each of those newsletters an individual discount code, and nobody bought using any of those discount codes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that I at least get one or two per newsletter, but I got 0 across maybe 8 to 10 newsletters.
Interesting.
And instead, people were all using just the discount codes that I had given in my email list. So that was what really converted.
So you had,
so that's not something I expected.
Was it the same discount rate in every platform, but just a unique code just for tracking purposes, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had a Facebook group discount that was different, or?
No. So, okay. So one thing that I did do as well, which I should probably talk about, is we marketed the deal for about 1.5 to 2 weeks, but it was closed the entire time. And then we opened it for a week. So for the entire time that I was marketing it, the only thing that you could do was sign up for the email list.
Got it.
Yeah. So I want to say Facebook groups got me in somewhere between 20 to 30 emails, maybe.
I see.
And again, it could have been a lot more if the deal was better, but
that makes sense. So you use the Facebook groups to get folks in early ahead of the deal, essentially. And then anybody who signed up through the Facebook group, they got your email, and then they purchased through the email, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. It's my first time running an aggressive funnel type campaign, and I must say it was really fun. I'd never done something like that before. It was really nerve-wracking because a lot of work went into it. I like to split up my day into very simply morning, noon, and night, and I try to work minimum 1, maximum 2 kind of slots a day. But during that period, I was working all 3, I'll be working in the morning, working noon, and like in bed at night, like still working. So it was a lot of work, and I was really worried it wouldn't pay off because I had no inkling, right? Because everything was just kind of funneling into an email list. So I have no idea, like when I open up sales, like is anyone going to buy? But thankfully, we got a bunch of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I can see why people run these things all the time.
Yeah, 100%. I think when a lot of folks think about launching a product with a lifetime deal, they think of things like AppSumo and they think of things like Product Hunt. Did you consider any of that stuff at all?
No, I mean, I don't want to say I don't know that much about Product Hunt, but I'm not sure how relevant it is for the WordPress audience. I don't see people in WordPress launching on Product Hunt all that often. And well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know a single person who has good things to say about AppSumo. I think if I ran like a info product, maybe like something that was already one off, then AppSumo would probably be amazing. I think I have heard people who do info products say that AppSumo works well for them. But I think anything subscription based would be really hard to deal with those customers. Like you get 1,000 customers and next to no profit, and they would all be really demanding.
Yeah, well, this is why lifetime deals get a bad name across the board, because of places like AppSumo, historical Envato marketplaces like ThemeForest, where they were selling plugins for $29, lifetime unlimited updates, and people are still struggling with the consequences of that years later. And so people are kind of tarring it with the same brush and saying all lifetime deals are bad, when you made a calculated decision that you were going to charge quite a high amount that would make it worth it, and you wanted that incentive to get people in early so you could get that feedback, get those power users, early adopters, and all of that. I think that's completely different to something like AppSumo, but people don't necessarily realize that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think actually one of the things that AppSumo tells product owners to convince them to go on AppSumo is that you'll get a lot of customer feedback. But I think it's the maintenance that kills you. If people are buying a lifetime deal on AppSumo and then like 3 years later they have a support ticket, it feels
There goes
feel
all of
upset.
that revenue right now.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
answered this email and now it's gone.
Yeah. And I think it's a weird thing to say. Oh, Matt's gone.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say, but at the start you don't actually want too many customers, right? So like I think we got about 30 plus customers from our lifetime deal, which is an okay amount. It's an amount that I'm happy with, but maybe it's not, oh wow, we've got 1,000 customers from our amazing big launch and 1 million emails or something like that. It's not that kind of amazing, but for me, like 30 customers is the perfect amount for us to get the feedback that we want without overwhelming ourselves. Have like a good amount of support tickets, again, without overwhelming ourselves, and keep chipping away and chugging and building the next phase of our product. In contrast, if you get 1,000 or 10,000 AppSumo customers, like you as your small little business who has just launched, you are like physically not equipped to deal with them. And it's, if the reason why you're launching is to get feedback from, early feedback from customers, like it's actually not good to get 1,000 angry customers knocking on your door, because 90% of it is not great because you're early, you're new.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet you got a similar revenue to if you had done an ultra cheap deal on AppSumo and got more customers, because you're charging more per customer. So that's hugely more profitable as well as more manageable.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'd love to transition a little bit into We talked a little bit about launching this new product with lifetime deal, but a lot of products also have lifetime deals going on regularly, um, like Barn 2, for example. And Katie and I had a great conversation a while back. Actually, if you all don't know, we have another little series that we do every once in a while called Yay or Nay, where we just take a subject in the WordPress space that's controversial or interesting and just say, what are you? Are you a yay or are you a nay? And Katie and I did lifetime deals on that one. So go to our YouTube channel, go to videos, and you'll see there our episode where we talk all about this. And Katie was highly convincing about her approach to lifetime deals. Katie, I'd love to hear a little bit again about how you approach the idea of lifetime deals in the Barn 2 products.
Yeah, the key thing is to make it worth it and think about it from a business perspective. So we offer permanent lifetime licenses. I'm not even going to call it a deal. It's just a different license option. A lifetime deal is more like a one-off thing, get loads of hype, get loads of customers in quickly. Whereas we offer lifetime licenses as an option. So we did it by calculating our average customer lifespan on the annual. So the average customer will stop using our product after about 2.5 years. So following on from that, to do lifetime, we thought, well, we want way more than that to cover the risk. We're giving up on ongoing cash flow. There's a risk they will stay for years and ask for loads of support. So we need to counter that. So we've gone through phases of selling lifetime at 3 times the annual price, 3.5, 4. And I've had some advice that in terms of company valuation, it's okay to sell your company with some lifetime customers who they were going to have to support, but not too many. There needs to be good ongoing new revenue with subscriptions. And the advice I was given was it should be up to about 15% of your total revenue. And every 6 months, we monitor this and we increase the price of the lifetime deals if it gets to 15% as a disincentive to buy it. And if it's way less than that, then we might make our lifetime deals a bit cheaper to get a bit more cash flow. So we do it quite strategically and play with the numbers in order to get the right balance between annual and lifetime. So that's what we do as an ongoing basis. And we also did more what Lesley's talking about as a one-off deal. It wasn't a launch deal like Lesley. It was just that I was contacted by the LTDF, that's Lifetime Deal Fans Facebook group. And they said, hey, do you want to do a secret lifetime deal on your all access pass? And now our all access pass doesn't include a lifetime option because, as Lesley said, she doesn't know what she's going to build in the future. So we can't say, here's our all access pass lifetime. It covers all future Barn 2 plugins by us or anybody who might even acquire us in the future. That doesn't feel responsible. So we've never offered lifetime on all access, just like how Lesley excluded new products from hers. And so this company said, well, we want a lifetime deal on your all access pass. And I thought, okay, how can we do that sustainably? And the solution I came up with was to exclude future products, as Lesley did. And so we did a deal. It was quite expensive. It was like $1,000+, depending on the number of sites. And so we did this deal. And we also offered 50% off any new products that we release in the future. As kind of an apology that we couldn't include that in the lifetime deal. And we did over $40,000 in a 2-week period, just through that secret Facebook group. So it didn't devalue our products more widely because nobody else knew about it. And the random lifetime fans seemed to be willing to pay that, which was good. And there was the group was so supportive. They did loads of live streams and things to really promote our products. And it was a really nice working relationship. So we made a lot of money, and some of them do use our products and give us useful feedback. But even more interestingly, whenever I launch a new plugin, I email that I've got a list of the people that bought, and they get their 50% link. And a couple of them always buy a lifetime license for our new product. So it's a couple of thousand in revenue within the first couple of days, which is really nice. So I think that's good for the business, but not everybody agrees.
Yeah. I think the biggest counter that often comes up is the impact it has on the total valuation of the business. And I love the way in which you really rein that in by making sure it's only 15% of revenue or less. And I think it's amazing that you just like if you see it creeping up too much, you're like, well, I'll just like reduce demand for this product by increasing the price. I think that's really smart. I think a lot of folks would say, well, yeah, it's good for the business in the short term, but not good long term, because anybody who wants to buy your business isn't going to be interested because of the dependence on that revenue not being there, essentially. But it sounds like you have a good caveat for that, so it works in your favor for sure.
Yeah, it's like airplane tickets, right? Like you just kind of increase or decrease the prices depending on demand. I wanted to talk a little bit about this whole acquisition, making it a more or less attractive acquisition based on how many lifetime deals you have. Like, I kind of want to question that a bit, and maybe Matt, you might have some good insight here. But so, like, for me, it seems like the concern comes in two parts. The first being, you cannibalize customers that might actually have happily paid you a subscription instead. And then the second concern is with support, that people show up 10 years down the road wanting support for something that they paid 10 years earlier. And so the first cannibalization question is like, I can't help but feel like, I can't help but question how realistic that is to begin with, especially when, as Katie mentioned, she's already calculated, okay, the lifetime value of our customers is generally in the ballpark of 2.5 years, and we've already accounted for that. So that kind of takes, kind of covers that to an extent. And then with the support, like, isn't it fairly easy to just pull up, these are the people who have historically bought lifetime deals. This is what the support load looks like. And, and the answer there is either, oh crap, this really is an issue, in which case you should probably not be doing lifetime deals for that reason and not for acquisition reasons. Or actually, this isn't really even a problem because, for whatever reason, this is already our ongoing support load, and our lifetime deal people, are like 5% or 10% of that. Which is less than 15% of revenue, and so really it's not an issue. And so like when you kind of break it down that way, then I honestly don't really see how this should be like such a huge concern, or the size concern that it is, and it's like always thrown around as a big concern for this reason. And I'm like, if you like even poke at this bear a little bit, it actually.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think, folks like Katie, for example, might not it's not front of mind at the moment to sell the business at all. So it's not as important overall, and that makes a lot of sense. I think that the ones who get in trouble with lifetime licenses are the ones who have done it egregiously wrong. And I would say
Oops.
What will he say? Fine, I will answer. So yeah, I know a lot of people, plugin company owners, who put a limit on the number of years support in their lifetime license.
Yep.
So they'll say, okay, get updates forever, but we're going to stop supporting you after 3 years. And I find that really defensive because, as you said, Lesley, you've already done the maths. You know that some customers will never have any support. Some will want it for 4 or 5 years. And that's why you've charged in that way. You've already done the numbers, and you can afford to support a small number beyond that. But I love what you said. I've never worked out how much we support lifetime customers and how it compares to annual. So I just put a note in my to-do list to get some kind of report somehow I suppose that would be from Help Scout or something, to looking at the licenses. I'm sure my tech people can figure that one out. But it would be good to have some data. And I don't think anybody in WordPress has ever published data about the respective demand for support of subscription versus lifetime. So I think that would be really valuable for people.
Yeah, I mean, because it's, I don't know, I was driving and I was thinking about it, and I was getting like, people are so upset, or like always talking about how doing too many lifetime deals is gonna affect your acquisition prospects. And it's like, well, have we actually, like, how far have we like even gone, step 2 down this like road? And it seems like no one actually has. Like, everyone just like, oh, lifetime deal bad, acquisition prospects bad. But it's like, okay, let's unpack that a little bit. And yeah, it might not really be an issue. And again, if it is, then you shouldn't be doing that for the short-term, value of your business anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's see what amazing point Matt was about to make.
Something egregious.
Yeah. Somebody needs to get a new computer. I can tell you that much. The way folks get in trouble is when they've done it egregiously wrong. And generally speaking, egregiously wrong is that is what Katie is avoiding. Anytime that your new sale revenue, your top level new sale revenue is so dependent on lifetime licenses, you're selling them all the time, every day. And if you can, you're like, hey, year over year, our new sale revenue is growing by 10%. But if you subtract the lifetime licenses from that, you'll see that your actual new sale revenue is down year over year in one form or another. And then that's when it's like, well, clearly you're depending on this lifetime deals a ton, and long term that's going to trickle out over time, and your actual growth of your actual company, your actual business, is not anywhere near what you believe it is. That's when it becomes problematic, because you're trying to show growth, you're trying to show strength and stability, and that you're on the up. But it's really easy to see through it if you subtract the lifetime deals away from it. But I agree. Like, if you could show with clarity that there's not a lot of support requests from those lifetime folks overall, then the business is like, well, I don't want to inherit a whole bunch of support that I then have to provide to people that I didn't sell to in the first place. That's of course one of their concerns, but that is easy to show that won't be the case. But it's more about like that it artificially shows your business as maybe being more revenue driven than it actually is on paper in the long term. So,
right, you want to see the compounding subscription revenue, right?
Yeah, there's kind of no replacement for really good ARR or MRR at the end of the day. So, yeah. I will say that on my experience with I think I'm fairly representative in the WordPress community in terms of being fairly anti lifetime deals, and that speaks to my experience. And one of the things I did early in our history with Give is I actually didn't want to discount anything. We had no discounts on Give WP for years and years and years. And that was because our primary target audience was nonprofit organizations. It's like, why should we be selling this to anybody if it's not at the correct value to that customer base? So I was also anti Black Friday and things like that, because we should be priced correctly all the time. Over time, I really learned that there are still those folks who only buy because there's a discount. Even when they see the value and all those kinds of things, they're just kind of sitting there in the wings, waiting to pounce. And they really want your product, and they just want it to be just cheaper. That's it. And so discounting to me is a strategy, and it's not a devaluation strategy. It's a customer messaging strategy in one form or another. But another way that I countered the lifetime deal approach was how we built out the GiveWP plans. GiveWP is an add-on model, And so we have, at this stage, we have like 36 different add-ons that we built up over years. And they are hard to maintain, Lesley. So that is a foreboding thing to think about. But in our plans, as we developed our plans, we call them basic, pro, and plus. We do have an agency plan now as well, but basic, pro, and plus have always been there for a long time. And what we said is that any new add-on that we create that is in the plan that you purchased, you will get that add-on as well. And so that's kind of like the lifetime deal benefit, while still being oriented around our normal annual recurring license deal. So, and every time that we add a new add-on to any of the plans, whether it be basic or pro or plus, we email those customers and we say, hey, your plan just got better for free. So and they didn't pay us anything additional, except that maybe the intention and the hope is that they are going to renew their license because they got basically a free add-on without even asking for it. So that to me has always been a nice kind of medium of being able to have some of that lifetime benefits. And we definitely see it in terms of, like, I can't say with like perfect authority that we kept our customers longer because of that, but I can say that our annual lifetime life why am I failing on all my words? Our average lifetime of a customer tends to be longer than what I hear in the WordPress space. I will hear folks say between 2 and 3 years, and the average give customer tends to be more to 4 or 5, even though it's not a theme or even though it's not a security plugin or things like that. But it could just be because we're a donation platform and people need to continue to raise funds no matter what. My only other experience, honestly, has been vicariously through Cadence WP. Cadence has offered lifetime deals for a long time, and they're really careful about them as well. And they have also increased the price of those deals over a period of time. And it does impact the books for sure. But it's been really impressive to me to see that the theme customer is just a very, very different customer than the plugin customer. It feels obvious if you just say it that way, but seeing it in the books, in the revenue, and in the customer patterns and things like that, and the way that you cater to those customers has been really fascinating and interesting to me. There are lots of Cadence customers who absolutely only are buying lifetime licenses for their themes because they're going to service a lot of different clients with that one product. In their mind, there's no reason why they should buy anything that's going to be this kind of like essentially like a developer tool for them, unless they can make it make sense over the span of dozens of clients over the course of several years. That's why the lifetime licenses make so much sense to those customers, and specifically for a product like Cadence that is made to build out a whole new WordPress website. So they helped me learn a lot about that there is some good value in offering that type of license deal in ways that I hadn't thought about until I encountered them. So. Oh, I lied. There's one other experience. I was working hand in hand with James Kemp while he was at Stellar with Iconic and Orderable. And James had some early success with Iconic and offering lifetime deals. And he experienced it the way that everybody says that you will, that there's going to be this downside to it eventually. We definitely saw that the lifetime deal option gave a big boost. But then in the following year, if we didn't offer the lifetime license again, then we saw that it was really hard to match those revenue targets. So if we're aiming to try to grow a brand by 10% year over year, it became this issue where every Black Friday, let's say, or every summer sale or whatnot, we had to offer a lifetime license for Iconic because we weren't going to be able to meet those revenue goals if we didn't. And that starts to make it feel like the business isn't long-term sustainable. So there was a year in particular where we just said, we're just going to eat that growth target and not offer the lifetime license anymore, and just have to put some notes in the books to say that, yeah, we didn't meet our targets and we knew that we weren't going to meet them for this specific reason. Um, we got smarter and stronger and better about discounting strategy on Iconic and Orderable, and we've actually seen really good mature growth there over a long period of time, despite the loss of lifetime deals. So, in many ways, I feel like I like seeing a business not be dependent on the lifetime side, because to me it feels a lot closer to the actual ideal customer profile. I don't want to necessarily cater to the folks who are just looking to collect me. I don't want to just cater to the folks who just want to have lifetime for all the things. I want a customer who actually wants to use our product, and it just feels healthier to me overall. Feels cleaner, but I've never actually experimented on any product the way that Katie has with her approach, in terms of just continuing to raise the lifetime product price and keep it at 15% of revenue only. It makes me really want to just launch a product just to try that technique out, honestly. So I'll keep you all posted if I actually do that. Nice. Yeah, we have a couple comments here. What is this one? Rob D says, Matt, how much of those new add-ons are driven by your current customers asking for those features? That's a really good question. That's not perfectly related to lifetime deals. But I will say that we have a couple episodes. Katie says this all the time. We talk about customer feedback all the time, Matt. And it just is because it's a subject that I'm super passionate about. And it's really important to every single business. I don't know. Anyway, Rob, I hate to say all of them are exactly related to current customers asking for those features, but it is something that we do very religiously, not only on GiveWP, but across all the Stellar products. We really try hard to build out the things that customers are asking for. And that's for a lot of different reasons, but one of them is honestly just feature parity with competitors. Customers will ask for features on our product because they've seen it in other products, whether it be other WordPress plugins or SaaS competitors. And with Give, it's almost always the SaaS competitors, because they usually have really deep marketing pockets, and it's hard to compete against really big SaaS platforms. But they'll have features that we haven't thought of before, and we'll build them out because customers are like, I really want to use your platform because I really want to have it on my WordPress site, but you need to have this one feature. We log it, we tag it, we report on it, we talk about it in roadmap meetings, and then at some point it bubbles up to be the most important thing, and we build it and ship it. It's really important. Another question here. I'm gonna not do well at that name. Let's see. Saiful Islam. Saiful? I don't know if anybody has a better way to pronounce it. But Saiful Islam says, in terms of the lifetime deal, which approach do you think works best? Lesley, what's your take on that one?
My take is actually the annoying take, which is it depends, right? And it's all about using the right tool for the job that you have. And what's that thing about, like, if you have a hammer, all you see are nails?
Mm-hmm.
I think like sometimes people use lifetime deals as a hammer, and they try to use it to nail sales in the head. And as you can see, like, even from all three of our lifetime deal experiences, they are vastly different.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to say. And I think you should, if you're not sure what works best, you should actually work more on scoping and defining your problem so that you can then craft a solution that works for it. So that's my super helpful and unhelpful take.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We have another question here. Lots of questions today, which is awesome. And another name that's really going to be hard for me. Alvaro Goyes, I'm going to say. He says, what about the Envato marketplace approach? A customer can buy a plugin and have limited time support and buy extra support further ahead. Is it sustainable? That is one, actually, you're helping me remember. I actually have experience with this one too, actually. iThemes did this a really long time ago. They sold a few of their products with a lifetime license with a 1-year support limit. So for the first year, you would get support. But after that, if you wanted to have support again, you would need to purchase a license that included support. The challenge with some of that is that all of our products include support at this stage, and it is essentially a problem that the Liquid Web side, iThemes sold to Liquid Web and is now part of Stellar WP, and it's a problem essentially that we inherited because we have a support policy today internally that if anybody lands in our inbox, we are going to support them no matter what their problem is. And that means those folks who purchased one time forever ago are sometimes land in our inbox. And the policy is supposed to be that we're supposed to upsell them. But the truth is, I can't do that. Like, we're going to support them. That's the bottom line. I would love to sell them on a new license or whatnot. But the truth is, that's not a great long-term sustainable support policy. So I find that policy in particular, Alvaro, to be not a good business move, especially in the WordPress environment, because support, like, there's a lot of folks in the WordPress business who say you're not actually selling plugins, you're selling support, because the plugin code is free in many ways, but the support isn't. We do have to pay for that. So I personally, I want people to keep paying so that we can keep paying our support folks, so we can continue to provide support to all of our customers.
Yeah, honestly, I think it is a desperate attempt by Envato to fix a deeply flawed business model. So they have, through their not having subscriptions for so many years, put all these product sellers in a terrible position where they're providing unlimited support for free. So they can't introduce subscriptions. Well, maybe they probably should have done, actually, but they haven't. Instead, what they've done is they say, oh, well, now you've got to pay for 6 months support every now and then, as and when you need it. That is not about the customer. It's not thinking about the customer's needs first. It's just a desperate attempt to resolve an earlier problem, in my opinion. So we shouldn't be looking at Envato's structure as inspiration for our businesses, even though they've started getting a bit more revenue to make the support viable. Is that fair?
100% fair, for sure. I mean, essentially, you see them, they're now trying to sell support licenses just to compensate.
And it's only 6 months, so you need
Yeah.
to keep doing them, and it's just, don't start with that as a model.
Exactly. We have one more follow-up here that we'll do, and then we got to get into best advice. Rob D again. Matt, do you track how many of the new add-ons get adopted by the lifetime users, and what is their satisfaction through a feedback survey? Well, there's a few complicated aspects to what you're saying there. If you mean new add-ons, I think you mean when I was referring to Give WP and that we add new add-ons to the plans. I will say that the Give folks don't have lifetime licenses. We never sold any lifetime anything in Give. Everything is only license based, a number of sites that you can get, and everything is annual renewal on the Give side. On the Cadence WP side, there are some lifetime licenses, we're constantly monitoring feedback through our CSAT, which we do through support. But we don't have the capability currently to distinguish whether they're a lifetime customer or not. So we're not doing that on lifetime customers in particular. And then for the folks who actually get a new add-on added to the Give plans, we email them directly, and there is always a reply to in our emails that lands in our Help Scout inbox. So if we say your plan just got better, you just got a free add-on, people often reply, and our customer success team will see that. We always get really positive replies to those emails. I mean, it's like free plugin. This is great. So whether or not folks are super happy with the actual plugin and how it works on their website, it's another question. But generally speaking, that whole effort tends to be really positive for sure. We got one more question here. Katie, do you want to take this one?
Okay, so it's a multi-parter. Hang on, that's not the beginning. So we'll start with, in terms of the lifetime deal, which approach do you think works the best during Black Friday, Cyber Monday? 50% discount on both yearly and lifetime. 2, 50% discount on yearly and 20% on, it said on yearly. So just discount your yearly. 50%. Is that
No, those are the same options.
Okay.
I think that one, the first one you highlighted, is the full question.
Yeah. The thing with Black Friday is that if you analyze your renewals in subsequent years, you'll see that your renewal rate is lower from Black Friday customers compared to customers that buy at other times of year. That's just how it is because of impulse buys and things like that. They're less likely to keep using your product. So with that in mind, my priority becomes to get the maximum value out of the initial purchase during that sale period. And that means discounting lifetime deals. Because they're even less likely to renew than a normal customer, I would rather they bought the lifetime deal and then didn't use my product than that they did that with the annual, because they're spending like 3 times more or something. So my personal approach is to discount the same amount. When we've looked at support in the past, we've worked out that the most we can afford to discount lifetime is 40% at Black Friday. So I wouldn't go as far as 50, but that's different for each business. But yeah, I'd say discount lifetime because they're less likely to renew anyway. So get that revenue now. I know that's controversial though. So anybody else, feel free to step in.
I'll caveat a little bit because I think your perspective is based on your model with lifetime, and the fact that you see a dip in renewals, that's absolutely standard in the WordPress space during the Black Friday time. We caveat that by doing an early renewal campaign ahead of Black Friday. So essentially, we try to get ahead of that with all of the Black Friday folks, and we give them the opportunity to renew at a cheaper rate, but not at the full 40% or whatnot. So we'll say for existing customers, we're offering you an early renewal rate of 25%. And here's where you can do that. And they'll renew a little bit early before Black Friday, because there are lots of folks who love to game the Black Friday system by canceling their subscription and then buying new again at the Black Friday rate. We try to prevent that a little bit. It has helped a ton on our renewal front. It's not perfect. It's definitely not the norm for our normal renewal rate, but it has helped buffer it quite a bit, actually. So
I really like that. I've written it down to consider, and then presumably you would remove those people that did renew early from your Black Friday emails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are we planning on a Black Friday episode?
I put something in Slack and nobody replied.
we should revisit that because there's quite a few things we can talk about. So, well, let's do. We've gone a little bit long. We are keeping Lesley way up late. Let's do.
It's 1 in the morning now.
Yeah, it's really the next day. She's in the future. Lesley, what is your best advice to folks who are considering lifetime deals for their business?
I'm going to have to go with the thing that I said earlier, which is, again, like helpful and unhelpful, which is you have to be clear on the problem that you have and think about whether lifetime deals are the best tool for the job and what kind of lifetime deal is the best tool for the job. Again, it's not that helpful, but I think at the end of the day, if you just kind of so it was interesting because while I was running my lifetime deals, there were a bunch of other people running lifetime deals as well, and I got to kind of see parallel lifetime deals take place. One person that I saw, they were kind of trying to copy mine, but we had like very, very different scenarios. Our circumstances were completely different. Our products were completely different, but they were just trying to copy what we were doing. And I think it didn't go well for them just because the scenario was completely different. And then on the other hand, we had Pi Calendar, who was offering like the exact same space, and they were offering a very different deal from ours, much simpler. It was, I think, $199 or $299 for unlimited licenses forever, and it was like a fantastic deal. And I think so they definitely caught the eye of the Facebook group crowd, because I saw a number of people being like, "Oh, don't buy Eventcoin, buy Pi Calendar because they're running a deal as well, and it's much cheaper," and so on and so forth. So I am quite curious to, and I would like to talk to them and see kind of how their deal went, just because it was like we were running it at exactly the same time. And again, like that just goes to show, even with lifetime deals, you can run the exact same deal as me and like do poorly, or you can run a completely different deal from me and presumably do well. And so, it's really tough to say like, oh yeah, lifetime deal, sure, you'll definitely make money, you'll definitely get upfront revenue, and all that kind of stuff, because like that might not be the case, and you really need to be clear on what problem you're trying to solve before you go ahead with the solution.
Nice. Katie, what's your best advice?
Mine is to follow the numbers, get the data and use that to calculate at what point lifetime licenses are sustainable and worthwhile and even beneficial for you, because it's not that straightforward. So do the numbers.
Love it. My advice is figure out what your actual problem to solve is, because lifetime deals is probably not the answer to that problem. I think most often there's probably 3 or 4 other ways you can solve that problem, and lifetime deals is probably like the 5th option on the list. So don't just be like, I'm going to run a lifetime deal. Don't just be like, well, I know that people launch with lifetime deals, so I'm going to launch with lifetime deals. Think about it, figure out what the actual problem to solve is, think about all the ways you can solve that problem. And if it's like, no, I'm really going to have the biggest bang for my buck by doing a lifetime deal, well, then great, fine. Listen to what Katie says, listen to what Lesley says, do it right and smart and well. But most likely, I think if you ask the question first about how can I solve this problem, you'll probably find at least 3 other answers that are probably a better answer first. Maybe not the most consensus-driven best advice in this group, but that's my best advice. Well, this was great. Lesley, love having you on as always. And where can people find you online, Lesley?
They can find me on Twitter at Lesley, Lesley_pizza. And Eventkoi is eventkoi.com.
All right.
So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Oh, it doesn't say what next week's is. Is that the one where we've got... we're talking about whether we're building for agencies or end users, or is that the one next week?
It might be. I don't think I'm
we
there
are,
for that
but
one.
we
I
will-
think that's yours. So
Yeah, we will heavily promote it anyway. But I think that's next week, where we're talking about who we're building for and how that affects things like our marketing. How do we word our product pages if we don't know if it's an end user or a developer or agency building it? So yeah, watch next week. And also, if you're enjoying these shows, do us a favor and hit like, subscribe, share with your friends, reference it in your newsletters. And again, catch us next week. Bye.